Hello everybody, I'm Paul and today we got a new project. Let's get into it. So today's video is a bit different. It's not one of my projects for a change. It's my friend Noel's. So I've known Noel years. When I was 16, I first started out as a mechanic at a garage. He was the parts manager there. He then later moved to Volkswagen Parts and got me a job there too. So we worked together closely for at least 9 years, I think it was. So he's a real good friend. So Noel grew up in Wales. He absolutely loves rallying and he bought this car 9 years ago to start entering some events. Also around the same time as buying the car, he set up his own business called Deutsche Parts. Basically, it's an online eBay shop selling Volkswagen Audi Group parts, and it skyrocketed to a point where now he's got 12 staff. It's a massive place with tens of thousands of parts online. Unfortunately, he's got work, he's got his passion. That had to take second place. And this has just been sat in the corner gathering dust. He did get it on the road briefly about 5 years ago, did about 100 miles in it, but it had to take second place. So he's given us a list of what to do on his project, so let's get cracking. So the first thing on his list is it don't start. So we know this is going to be a fairly easy job. It did run a couple of years ago and nothing's changed on the car since. So, pop quiz for you. What are the 3 things you need for a petrol engine to start? I'll pause the video now. That's right, we need compression, spark and fuel. And that's it. If we've got those 3 things, it's going to run. So compression's easy. We just got to crank it over. The engine note shows it's got compression. I mean, if we're professional, we can go and get a compression tester and test it. That's 1, 2, 3 and 4, and they're all okay. But just off the note, we know it's good. So next thing is the spark. So let's whip a plug out and test that. Spark's all right. So then we got our last thing, which is the fuel. So it's got an in-tank fuel pump. Where is the tank? That's what you call diagnostic tapping. It's got to be about £100 a tap, which is chargeable. Oh, I've got a fuel pump noise now. I'll turn that off because we've got a bit of a noise there, but it runs. Noel, if you're watching, took me hours, mate. I had to take all the fuel tank out, the engine out, everything to get it running. So, right, on with job number 2. Job number 2 is the stance, or if you're super posh, it's the stance. Oh, one's car is slightly more lower on the front than the rear. Oh, my stance is awful. So Noel's Golf is actually 1.5 inches higher on the rear than it is on the front. Now we want a bit of ground clearance anyway, because when he's hammering it down some farm track, he's got to clear them divots, you know, the hump in the middle of the track. But we don't want it, so when he hits the brakes, it does an endo. The problem with these Golfs, the Mark 1, 2 and 3, is the rear springs are so lightly sprung, you can actually push them with your hand, which I'll show you in a minute. So just by taking out the spare wheel and the toolkit, it lifts that back end up. So Noel's got a lowering kit, so let's fit the back springs and hopefully it will sit all right. Let's crack on. And there we go, nice easy job. It's filthy under there, so at one point this car has been abused, which is good. It's what all rally cars need. So now I'm holding it, you can see, let me put some weight on it. I'm not fat-ish. You can see just by only a bit of my weight, you can compress that. So we ain't gonna need a spring compressor. We'll just pop this 17mm nut off. Job's a good one. Let's get it off. So this new iBack one is shorter, but there's more coils and they're closer together. And I can't squeeze this one as much as I can squeeze that one. We might end up putting it on, it'll be the same height. So I'll get it all back together, catch you in a bit. That looks much better already. I mean, before, the back of the sill compared to the front was going down. And because the back was high, this roof line came straight across instead of dipping down towards the boot, which it should do. Yep, chuffed with that. No, that's another one ticked off your list. Mint. The next on the list is the noise. Have a look at that exhaust. Wow. That's probably all right for rallying around McDonald's car park, impressing the ladies, but it's no good for rallying. If you look underneath the car, the lowest thing hanging down is that exhaust, so it needs to be brought up. But the other issue is, most competitions around the country have a 98 decibel limit. I'm sure Donington Park, if he wants to do a track day, I'm sure they've dropped that down to 92 decibels now. And there's microphones all around the track ready to catch you out, and you just get a black flag and that's your day over. So let's have a quick test using my phone and see how noisy this is. Got my handy phone, let's plonk it down next to the exhaust and have a go. So already on tick over, it's 99, so there's no point revving it up. Let's get it on the ramp and get this exhaust off. So now the car's in the air, we can see that the exhaust box is a power flow. So it's like a universal box that somebody's fitted to this car, and it's hollow. So what I'm going to do is fit this. It's Pro Fusion exhaust. They're on eBay. Super cheap, that's like 70 quid, and you listen to the difference. That is solid and packed. So the exhaust note is going to be quieter. I've got these on my other cars. I've given them loads of def and they stay nice and quiet either, they don't blow the baffles out. Exhaust tip wise, I did say tip, I always prefer them poking downwards. You go on a track day, all the microphones around the track are high up in, like, you'll see a little shed on the side of a track. if the exhaust note's pointing backwards, it's going to be louder. So I'll angle it down towards the track, so that will fit in there. Point downwards, should look all right once we've done a bit of fettling with it. So yeah, I'll crack on and cut this box off. Let's go. So there we go, we got our silencer on the box ready. So I always cover them in an old t-shirt because there's nothing worse than welding spatter all over a nice shiny box. So first thing up is to cut this end off. We want it nice and flush when we put this down piece on, so that's easily done. Yeah, oh, caught it. Hey, how about that for a seamless editing cut? Nothing's changed. Oh, there we go, that's better. Right, with that cut off, this should hopefully just push in there like that. Next thing we need is a welder, and then just to weld it on. Easy as that. Smacked my nose. Oh. Put my gloves on before I grab hold of the bit I've just welded. So the back of the exhaust, I cut it straight off. So I just put a reducer on this and it's gone straight onto the original system. It's probably one of the easiest exhausts I've ever done. So let's get that on. That needs to go about there. Yeah, it's not looking too bad. Got to straighten it up and put the hangers on. And then we can test, and fingers crossed it's a lot quieter than the old one. Right, let's cut these hangers. And there we go. That's our exhaust all done. It's a shame really, because it's such a nice looking rear silencer and I've hidden it that well that you just can't even see the thing. So got my decibel meter. I'm going to prop it up against a piece of rag. Hopefully we don't set the rag on fire. There we go, and we'll see what it's reading. I think before when it said 99, it only goes up to 99, so it was just like maxed out. So anything lower than that and we're winning. Awesome. It was between 80, let me turn it off. Whatever that noise is on the front, I think that's the next job on the list. It sounds like the alternator is going to fall off. While it was running then. I did see 89, 91. So we've brought it down loads from what it was. These things do roar anyway, the 16 valve. It's a real deep thuddy exhaust note. But yeah, Noel, it's another one ticked off the list. And next on the list is the sunroof. So the Mark III Golf GTi came with an optional extra of having a sunroof, but unfortunately it was a glass sunroof. So for rallying, having glass above your head is a definite no-no. What somebody's done with this is they've got a Corrado roof, which was a tilt and slide, and it's metal, but it's been fitted really badly. So I'll show you inside. So when we get inside, we can see that the sunroof mechanism is still here. It used to have a bit on the back of it where the sunroof came down and slid into above the roof lining, but it's just been cut off and it's mega jagged. So worst case happens, what you got to think of with a rally car, you go over, your arms are flapping around in the air and there's just sharp bits of metal just hanging down just to catch your hands. You ain't going to hit it with your head because you're strapped into the harness. The other brilliant thing is it's held in by two 6mm bolts at the front, and at the back it's gaffer tape. So yeah, you go over, a rock hits the roof when you're upside down, or a tree trunk, or a stump. This roof is just going to come in, and yeah, that's the end of that. So we'll start off by ripping this out and then seeing what we got to play with. Let's get going. Ooh, put my gloves on. It's freezing in here still. So we got Noel's roof off. There we go. Obviously we can't just put this on without the mechanism because the hole is bigger than this in the roof. So Noel wants the usual rally fix, which is just a piece of metal, pot riveted, all round, and then that makes it kind of a part of the roof skin, and if the worst case happens, it goes on its roof, it's going to bend with the roof skin, but hopefully not too much. So he's given me this. He said, I've got this little piece of metal you can use. Look at the size of that. Looks to me like a door skin off a Volkswagen T4 that he's ordered in, and it's come in crushed in the delivery. So this piece in the middle is pretty much the ideal size that we're gonna need. So let's get cutting. And that's it. That's our rally style modified sunroof plate made. Got to put a load of black. I've only matte blacked it for now just to make it look a bit better. Luckily with the metal we used that Noel got, it was super thick. I couldn't cut it on my guillotine, that's why I had to grind it. And it's pretty much the same shape as the roof, which is good. It's put a bit of strength in it, so I haven't had to add a brace, because the last thing you want when you're rallying, if you use a normal piece of metal, is this kind of noise. Easy, 60 left. Caution, 40 right, tightens over crest into jump. So yeah, we won't get any of that. Hopefully, anyway. So all that's left to do is to get a bit of sealer on the roof, bang some pot rivets in it, and then our job is done. And the next on the list is the footrest. So a lot of people don't realise how important the Navigator's footrest is. For a Navigator, from the waist upwards, they're the business. Plotting notes, reading the map, barking in your ear all the orders that you got to do. From the waist downwards, they're basically a table. So if you imagine, got me CBS mag, if you imagine, they got the map here. See, this is a bit too high for me. They're strapped into the seat. Their knees have got to be the correct height so they can read the map. If it's too far away and their legs are straighter, they're going to be constantly looking down like this, and it's not going to be enjoyable for them. And then again, like this one is too close. My legs are too high and it's pinching around my guts. So give me about an hour in this position. One, I'm going to have stomachache, and two, I'm going to be busting for a shit. So it's got to be the perfect height that you can read, that his neck's not down and he's not going to have gut's ache after. The other thing with this footrest is it's just too narrow. Like my one foot is nice on there and the other foot can just like slip off the side if it wants, and there's no grip on it either. So I think we've got to make a new one. This is just one of them cheap aluminium ones you buy off like Amazon for 20 quid. It's only fixed at the front, it's loose, it's bent. Yeah, let's make one, but try and make one that's adjustable, that you don't have to get underneath the car to adjust it. So it's just, we can take out some nuts, get it set right for whichever height, you know, I don't know who Noel's Navigator is. And yeah, let's make one. So let's start by getting a gigantic piece of metal and cutting some strips out of it. Now you'll notice the absolute wrong thing to do is grind towards your crotch area, because when you smell something burning halfway through, it tends to be, yeah. But luckily this time I was quite a few inches away from the crown jewels, but yeah, I think the trousers are done for. So then we get our cut pieces, drill some holes in it and weld it together. And then we're left with something that looks like that. So that's basically going to bolt through the floor. We've got our studs poking upwards. And I've cut some plate with the adjustment holes so we can adjust, basically the footrest is going to go here. We can adjust that further backwards or further forwards. So next up is to cut some uprights and yeah, make the footrest. Let's hope it all goes together. So we're back to cutting off them uprights, obviously making sure we're avoiding the crotch area with the sparks. But yeah, that didn't work. Got it right on the money this time. Another matching hole in my trousers. Then we'll take them bits we cut and weld them together. And then we're left with this. It kind of looks like it should be heavy, but because I've cut loads of little bits, it's really light. It's going to be mega sturdy, so it's going to take a lot of abuse. And it actually works, which I'm shocked. So we can see that that's the furthest away setting. And basically I've got 4 settings. If we put it on the last setting, we can see that you can come forwards with it about 2.5 inches. So there's loads of adjustment there to make it absolutely spot on for our Navigator. Okay, the only thing that's left, we need an aluminium sheet on this. We're going to dimple die it like the old one, but instead of the dimple dies going inwards, we're going to bring them outwards, and then that will give us our grip as well. I don't know why they don't do that on those ones, to be honest. So let's crack on. So first off, we take a piece of aluminium, nice shiny aluminium, over to the guillotine and cut it to the right length. Then it's over to the folder, fold the top over and the sides in, and then we're ready to start drilling. So we're going to go for a 25mm dimple die, which is the same as the old one. Drill all the holes out and then put it in the press and press those dimples into it. Now you'll notice, this is what I mean when I say I'm coming outwards with it, where the old one was inwards, giving you no grip. I'm bringing the tapers outwards towards your feet, so there's something there to give you a bit of grip. So once that's done, we've painted our frame up. We're screwing the aluminium plate to it. It all looks good. And there we go. Have a look at that. It's taken, what time is it now? It's taken about 2 hours to make that. We've made something that's still light. Let's give it the 1 finger test. There we go, I can pick it up with my finger. And I think it will do a much better job than that. I mean, this one, yeah, it's just cheap, isn't it? So for the cost of what it's done, I mean, yeah, 2 hours labor plus a pair of trousers. It's just the job, to be honest. I'm quite chuffed with that. It's the first thing I've made in ages. It's a bit overkill, but this is what I enjoy doing. Let's get it in the car and give it a go. Sound. And there we go. It's in. Just the job. The grips work perfectly. I'm trying to push my feet up and they don't slip off. I've no longer got any room down the side for my foot to slip off because I made it wider, and it's perfectly adjusted for me. It doesn't give me gut's ache. Where's a pencil? If we got our map It's in the perfect position, leaves my hands free to do other things like hold a torch or a potty. Just the job. So Noel, that's another one ticked off your list, and we're on to the final job, which is safety. So Noel's asked me to go through the car front to back to make sure it's safe. You know, if the worst happens, he wants to know that nothing's going to fail. I've gone through the car, I've noticed only two things that I can see that need changing. One being this. So the bolts that hold the roll cage to the car are only 8mm, and they're very short as well. This is one I've taken out. And the other thing is these side door bars. To me, this bar here is level with my shoulder. So worst case, something happens, something comes into the side, your shoulders are the widest part of your body basically. You've got all this, you know, where the ribs are that are set in, and the seat is actually shaped for the bar to go about here, and it's too low at the front. When I've had these cages before, the bolting cages, usually the door bar comes too long and you cut it down to the size you need basically, because every cage is slightly different. But it looks like this cage has been fitted, they haven't cut the bar down, and they've done this like mad diagonal going downwards. Just looks unsafe. So I think we're going to join it about here and have it just slightly coming upwards, but going in here where this seat is, there's a nice cutout for it. So I think the first thing to do is take the door bars off, get the seats out, have a look what we're dealing with. Let's go. Right then, let's make a start on this cage and crack on. So first of all, we're going to remove that roll cage padding, loads of cable ties to cut. And then next up, it's get those door bars out. So I'm going to be welding the new door bars I'm making in, so we need to get the seats out too, so I don't set them on fire. So the special doodah angle gauge measurer tool that I've got goes up against the cage, level it out and work out the angle we need, which is 24.5 degrees, but let's just call it 25. Next, we'll get our proper approved roll cage tube and cut a length off it. We're going for 44 inches. It's going to be slightly over, but I'm going to cut it down to fit. Better than cutting it too short. So we'll set the notcher up to 25 degrees and put the pipe in and start cutting. Now the front roll cage is 38mm, and luckily the tube we're using is 38mm, so we're just going to cut same size notch out of it. There we go, nice as pie. So the next thing I do is always mark 0, so I know which way I've just cut that angle and which way is up on this pipe. So when I take it out and turn it round, I can set it back up to 0, and I know I'm cutting the next notch at the same angle. So the car's roll cage hoop in the middle is 1.75 inches, so I've put a different chuck on. And there we go, cut that off too. Then it's just a case of offering it up into the car. It looks much better than the last one. I'm happy with that. So welding it in, I turn the welder absolutely up flat out. I'm going to mount the hell out of these two bits of tube so they'll never come apart again. And that's this one side, all done. So while the old one was off before I put this on, I drilled out all the holes in the front there. So the center hoop and the front leg, got some nice chunky bolts holding them through the floor, so that's perfect. I've got the old bar in here, and that's the angle it was, which is shocking really. So yeah, might be a bit harder to get in now, but who cares if you're safe, to be honest. Just the other side to do, and then Noel, that's the last one ticked off your list. Sound. So I hope you at home have enjoyed going through Noel's list with me on his Golf GTi rally car. The list was loads longer than this, but if I'd have filmed them all, it would have been an hour-long video. I did other stuff like on this car, the fuel tank is plastic, and let's face it, it would have only lasted about 5 minutes down a farm track. So I made a metal skid for it to just help it out a little. Also, that alternator noise we heard in the last video, I found that the main live was direct short inside that alternator, so I fitted a new one of those too. I did go over the car, give it a service, change the brake fluid, clean the brakes, and then just go round and give it a good check over. Also, Noel's going to send off them wheels to be repowder coated because one of them's the wrong colour. So he supplied another set of wheels with some mud and snow tyres on it. So hopefully that'll give him a bit more grip. But maybe when them other wheels come back, we can put some nice, you know, tarmac tyres on it. And then he's got 2 sets to play with. So that's it for this video. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Remember, click that subscribe button, smash me like, and leave me a cheeky comment. That'll be great. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Ta-da.